Welcome, everyone, to the new Epic Journeys interview series sponsored by Life with Crypto. Epic stands for Everyday People in Crypto. It is my intention to interview everyday people that are making money with crypto or who are involved with crypto in some way, shape, or form, and to share their story and or their journey. So my name is Kelly Sunshall. I'm a crypto educator, and I've been a crypto investor since 2015. And I'm also the founder of Life with Crypto. And today we are interviewing Jacqueline Cooper, who has been involved with crypto for some time now. And I'm going to let Jackie tell her story. So we met through a friend, if I recall, who put us in touch because we're on opposite ends of the United States from each other, and we happened to meet through a mutual friend that is in my area. So why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about yourself, Jackie? Tell us, how you got involved with crypto, and are you still doing anything with it?
Yeah, no, you and I have known each other for a number of years now. It's amazing how time flies.
Yeah.
It really does. My background is a little diverse. My background is I'm an attorney, but I'm also in education. And about 4 years ago, I got started going down the crypto blockchain rabbit hole. I was always curious about it. And I met a woman over in Scotland who helped me open up my first wallet, and I bought my first altcoin. And from that point on, I kept asking questions of you and others. And I've been learning, again, with my various social media paths. It's been an amazing journey. And yes, I'm still involved with cryptocurrency. I'm involved with Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin miner. So I think that the blockchain is a really creative space, and there are things on there that you always need to kind of double check, but I think that it's going to be around for a very long time.
Nice. So what are you doing to actually mine Bitcoin? Do you have your own hardware, or are you doing one of those where you share hardware among other people?
So the company that I have two rigs, and the company that I bought the rigs from, they actually do the hosting. They are there's a shared wallet, so to speak. I have my own wallet, but basically they drop the Bitcoin in daily for that. And the hosting fee that they charge covers the electrical, covers the maintenance of the equipment, and anything else. So basically, I'm able to see the rate of return based upon whatever the daily drop is.
Oh, very cool. What's if you don't mind me asking, about how much do you think you can make in a month off of the way you're doing the mining?
Well, it will vary, just because
Sure.
the cost of the rate of Bitcoin goes up and down. So, depending
Well,
upon the market.
maybe it's easier instead of just to try to figure out dollar amounts, because you're right, the price is constantly
Mhm.
changing.
Yeah.
Do
So
you?
usually the how much Bitcoin is mined on my rig is dependent, for those that don't know about mining, it's dependent upon the power and the speed of the rig. And so, because again, that's solving mathematical equations. And so if your rig can solve the equation faster than other rigs, then you get the Bitcoin mining rewards. And so it can the amount of the reward is based upon the speed of the rig. So, I mean, the last time I looked, I think it was probably there are a lot of zeros in front of it, but
Yeah,
again,
yeah. That's
so
you got to
again,
count all those zeros, but
yeah,
you are making something.
yeah. And so, my whole purpose of being involved is accumulation. So that way, long term, I'm using this as, for me, again, we always say disclaimers. You got to, this is not financial advice. You have to do your own research. But I'm looking at this as long term, where I'm going to sit on it and let it ride. And then, 10 years down the road, I'll have accumulated a certain amount of coin, whether it's an altcoin or Bitcoin.
How much did it cost you to just get started with the company, and what's the name of the company, if you don't mind sharing?
Um, I'm not going to share the name of the company, only because at the moment they're going through a reorganization.
Right.
So, so I'm going to keep that private for the moment. But on another show that we might hop on at the point that their new name is open, then I'll definitely share it. But the cost of my rig was $11,000 for that includes the hosting for the platinum, which is pretty high speed, and then it was like 5,000 for the smaller one. So, again, over the course, I've had these two rigs now for 3 years now.
3 years.
So, yeah, and the life of the rig can vary between 5 to 6 years, depending upon how it's maintained and that type of thing.
That's
So,
very
but
interesting.
yeah, so it is, and actually, I think I'm also an author. I've written a number of books, and the next book I'm writing is called The Bitcoin Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs, and it's all about Bitcoin mining. And it's a play on the Snow White mining, but instead of them mining gold, it's the Bitcoin mining. And so the whole purpose is to educate people about what Bitcoin is and Bitcoin mining is. So
That sounds very fun.
yeah,
I was never interested in playing with the hardware, and then eventually they came up with these schemes like you're involved with now, where you don't actually have to have your hands on the hardware yourself.
hmm
And I just chose to never go down the hardware route. I just directly buy the asset and then hold it. But for people who are interested in doing the mining part, but you don't have the technical skills to maintain the hardware, because that was something I never wanted to deal with. What you're doing is a great
yeah.
option for not having to have your hands on the hardware yourself. So congratulations on that's to me a big step dealing with hardware on any level. I just didn't want to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, I've been like, like I said, I've been on a major learning curve, and that's one reason why I decided I wanted to kind of write the different books because I knew that you've been around, you've known about this for a while. I'm, relatively new to this, but every part of this community has its own vocabulary and language. And, as you are starting in get getting comfortable with a wallet or any of the other terminology in the crypto space, it gets overwhelming at first. And so for someone to take the first step, it's definitely great, but again, there's a lot of things to know. And I have found in our community that there's been a lot of mentors, and people have been great to answer questions because we've all been there. We everyone has some knowledge, and everyone is going helping everyone pull forward.
Yeah, and I like that about the community. And it's true that from the time I started back in 2015, so many niches within the crypto
Yeah.
world have popped up that weren't even there. The NFT niche, the yield farming niche, mining is not really that niche has been here, since the beginning, and it seemed more profitable in the beginning, but some people like yourself are still making money at it. But there are so many niches in crypto that you kind of almost have to pick the niche that you're most interested in and learn that rather than try to learn it all, because I find that it's a bit overwhelming to try to learn it all. And I've chosen to not do too much with NFTs right now. I don't do a whole lot with the metaverse. My biggest focus is swing trading. And now get my second niche that I've chosen to get into is the yield farming. So I've been learning all the vocabulary around yield farming and how to how to how to deal with the technology in yield farming, which is significantly different from just buying and selling Bitcoin or Ether, which is what I did, for the longest time. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that about you getting into the mining. I'm wondering, is there anything else you're doing in the crypto space that you want to share?
Um, yeah, I mean, the mining helped me understand the business side of Bitcoin. And when I went down to the Bitcoin conference in Miami last May, I was amazed at how many people are involved within our community, from the business perspective and the uses of it. And I'm not just focusing on Bitcoin. Obviously, there's altcoin too, but people are creating these containers for the mining rigs so that way it can gather the heat to power water heaters.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah,
there's a lot of creative things going on. And then there's the environmental side too. I mean, again, a lot of the mining companies are looking at how to be environmentally proactive. In fact, I went down to Atlanta, and there's a company called CleanSpark that actually has their rigs in oil, and so the heating, it cools it down. So, and then they recycle the water and things like that. So, I mean, it's an amazing process.
Yeah.
From the altcoin perspective, I mean, I have, I've looked at different coins and opened up wallets, and I mean, the thing that I would just share with everyone who's listening is you definitely have to make sure you have a cold wallet, because if you leave your coins on a platform, you don't always know when the liquidity of the platform and if they're going to stay around. And you only really own your coins when you have it in your own cold wallet. So, and again, there are a variety of different wallets that you can choose from. Feel free, to reach out to me or to Kelly, again, to get suggestions. But those are things that as you kind of take the next step, you realize, okay, I need to secure my own finances and what I've invested in. Because otherwise, just like the current events, there are times where different platforms have issues and you
And you
are
could have
then frozen.
and you could even have an issue that's not even related to current events. For example, I just in the last few days had an issue with one of the large exchanges that I have money on, and I went to make a withdrawal. And these are centralized exchanges, is what Jackie and I are talking about. Is you have to be careful not to leave your money on a centralized exchange for any length of time, because sometimes you might go to make a withdrawal and not be able to do it. And that's what just happened to me. It's like with the platform I've been with for many years, and all of a sudden I went to make a withdrawal and my account got blocked. And I was on the phone for quite a while figuring, giving them, my ID again, giving them other personal data in order to get it unlocked so that I could move my money off, and that was a little bit scary. And once you get it into your own private cold wallet, like a Ledger Nano or a Trezor or KeepKey or one of those others. I prefer the Ledger. You've got to get it into some kind of a cold wallet in order for it to be totally in your hands. But of course, at that point in time, you are 100% in charge of your own money, and you're 100% in charge of whether you lose it or not. So you do have to know what you're doing in order to make sure
And
that doesn't happen.
the other challenges for those that might be dibbling and dabbling with some of these coins that are, I'll call them fad coins.
Yeah,
Some of the wallets don't accept them yet.
yeah.
So you might still have to leave them on a platform just because you can't move them, because the wallets, they're very progressive, but they're kind of conservative as to which blockchain that they might, and they're always changing. There's things are always evolving, but when you first do an investment in a token or a cryptocurrency altcoin, you might not be able to move it. And that's something that's very important for you to kind of think about is can I move this to a wallet, or am I going to just leave it? And am I willing to lose it if I can't move it?
Early on, before the ecosystem got as robust as it is now, I found
Hmm.
myself getting all excited about buying certain altcoins. And then after I had bought them, most of them you had to buy on an exchange, of course, especially back
Right.
then. And then after I bought them, then I would scratch my head and go, okay, where am I going to store them? Because, you're not going to leave it on an exchange. And then I'd go looking for a wallet after I had bought it. And sometimes I found that there wasn't a wallet where I could keep all of them in one place. So
That's right.
I ended up
More than
having
one.
so many wallets, one wallet for this altcoin, one wallet for this altcoin, one wallet for this altcoin. And it got a little overwhelming. And then finally, I don't remember how many years ago, but Exodus came out, and it's one of my favorite wallets because it holds hundreds and hundreds of different cryptocurrencies. And so I was able to consolidate almost all of those that I had in multiple wallets, all into one wallet that I can use on my phone or my desktop. So I really was so happy when that came out. And then I finally got into the hardware wallets, which you can keep most all altcoins on your hardware wallet. So it's very good advice to know
Yeah.
where you're going to store it. Sometimes is a good idea before you buy it.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. And then the other thing that I would just suggest to everyone is, when you look at an altcoin and you look at their white paper, even if you can see an address and even if you can see the name of a person, and those are at least two things that I always look for. Can I see the name? Can I see the person? Or is it totally anonymous? Um, you know, you don't know the liquidity behind that coin. So, so that's something to be aware of. Again, from a profit or loss perspective, you can't always research everything, so you really have to be aware of that, and also be aware that sometimes even if a altcoin, and again, Bitcoin is a whole different animal, but if you are aware of if there's an altcoin on a platform, be aware that some of these platforms, that altcoin can buy a place on that platform. So it doesn't mean that that altcoin has liquidity behind it. It just simply means that they were able to purchase a spot on the platform to give them credibility. So, again, just be aware. Just don't think that because you're going to a name platform that a coin is there, that it's safe to invest in it. Be aware, do your own research on it, because again, there's a lot of different factors. I love crypto. I love the blockchain, but I'm just saying you have to go in eyes wide open and your own research.
Absolutely. And there's knowing how to pick a good exchange, and knowing how to do research to pick quality cryptocurrencies is important, and knowing how to avoid scams. And I've actually done some short trainings on my Facebook page. I do live trainings every Monday. They can be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. And I've done some short trainings on how to pick quality cryptos, how to pick quality exchanges, and what kind of scams there are out there to avoid. So anybody that's interested in that information, it's on my Facebook page. And I've been trying to get those videos uploaded to my YouTube channel. So if you're not a member of my Facebook group, those trainings are there, because it's really important with, yeah, I think there's 10 or 20,000. I can't keep up with how many different cryptocurrencies keep showing up. And I would say at least 99 to 98% of those are really not worth owning. Maybe the top 1% are really worth considering, but still, that's a lot of cryptocurrencies to choose from, even only looking at the top 1%. So having a plan, a checklist, if you will, and I do have that in some of those trainings that I've put out.
Yep.
But it sounds like you. No,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I
Well,
was going to say, it sounds like you've got a plan for your future around crypto. You're going to do this mining for a while. I heard you say like 5 to 10 years or so, and keep growing your Bitcoin bag. Is there anything else you have planned for the future with your crypto besides the book, which sounds really exciting too? I look forward to finding out when that comes out.
Yeah, actually, the book, the first book, the Bitcoin
Oh,
Cinderella,
you've already got it out. Bitcoin
it's already out.
Cinderella.
Yeah, it's already
Yeah.
out. It's on Amazon, and it's actually translated into Spanish and Creole and other languages. The
Very
second book
good.
is the Bitcoin Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs, and then I also wrote this, the Wallet Organizer, which is also on Amazon. I wrote this for my daughter only because of the fact that she had no clue on whether my wallets were on from my phone, whether my wallets were on the computer, whether it was Google Authenticator. When
Yeah.
you start to open up a wallet, they ask all these security questions. For us, as you get used to it, it's intuitive. Trust me, at the beginning, it's not. But for
Right.
someone who's new to this, if they were to go to a certain wallet, they wouldn't know, do I go to her phone? Do I go to the computer? Where do I find this? And I wanted to make it easy for my daughter, so that way, if anything happened to me, being the attorney, thinking about the wills and things like that, if anything
Yes.
happened to me, she would then have a plan of action. And, again, from an information organization perspective, that's what I'm looking at trying to help people with. So, the other thing I added to my sort of toolkit last year is I realized, again, as an attorney, there's some things I can do to help people, but there are other things I wasn't able to do. But I became a certified cryptocurrency investigator. So that way, because I had two clients who had their coins hacked and lost. So by becoming an investigator, I have access to a platform where actually we can trace where the coins are going on the blockchain, because everything is visible. And that way, when it ends up getting to a platform that it could actually be retrieved from, you still have to go through the same legal channels, but at least this way you have the report that shows where the coins went from A to Z, and then you can actually help the police kind of retrieve. So that's something that next year I'm hoping to help more people with as well.
That's cool. Did you have to have a legal license of any kind to be able to do that?
No, you don't have to have a legal license. I became certified through the Blockchain Intelligence Group, and it's through their platform that the Clue platform that I'm actually certified with. And I'm working with people.
What did you call it? The Clue platform?
Clue. It's QLUE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that, don't ask me what it's short for, because I don't have the little words in front of me, but it definitely it tracks the blockchain, and it was developed and designed by Secret Service, police, intelligence organizers who actually had to trace different coins before, and so now it's being able to be used for everyone. So
Very interesting.
yeah, it is. I mean, again, the blockchain's very visible. We might not see who took it, but
Right.
everything from block to block to block is there.
Transparent.
It's encoded.
Exactly. Very transparent. Well, it's interesting to hear the direction you've gone with crypto because, everybody's different in how they want to approach this world.
Yeah.
And since I got started so early, I just went right into the trading part of it, and long-term trading, not this short-term every 5 minutes or every hour trying to figure out how to buy and sell. That's just crazy making for me. But swing trading over, the highs and the lows that it usually takes 2 to 3 years to go from a high to a low and vice versa. That became what I was drawn to, because then I didn't have to do it all the time. I tend to do it all the time anyway, just because I like it. I pay attention to it, but I don't necessarily go do trades. And that's why I wanted to learn yield farming, because my trades, the big trades that I make, tend to happen over several years period of time. And so I wanted to figure out how to make some money in between those big trades. And that's why I still like yield farming. And it's not as big a craze as it was, last year. But it's there. You can still make money through yield farming, but you got to get the basics down, which is why I tell people you got to learn the basics.
That's true. That's true with every field. You have to get your education, and you have your background is such that you have you're always very detailed oriented, and and that makes it even stronger for what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm putting together just a real quick plug here. I'm putting together what's called the Let's Crypto Boot Camp, and I'm making this a very easy education, seven lessons. And I'm charging very little for it, $59, and then every now and then I run a special and sell it for only $39. But this boot camp is supposed to give people the foundation of how to get involved with crypto, but not just the technology, but how to get yourself in the right place and know yourself well enough to know which avenue you want to take in crypto. Because just in this conversation alone, you've written books about it. You're doing a Bitcoin mining thing where you actually, somebody else manages your mining rigs. You have a very different strategy from my strategy, and everybody needs to know what their own strategy is, what their own style is, if you will, in order to really know the best route to get into investing. Because what you're doing is a variation on investing, just like what I'm doing is a variation on the theme. So learning the basics is important.
Yeah, the only thing I would hop in and say is sometimes, like at the start, I didn't know what my style would be or would not be. So again, it's really important that when you start, that you talk to people like Kelly or myself, because again, there's so much to learn and to know. You still have to make the final decision that's best for your family. But, being a teacher, I know that what I teach in kindergarten is not what I teach to my fifth graders. So it's important that as your learning curve increases, that you go to different people that can fill in the gaps of what you might need to know, because that will help you strategize and make decisions that are best for you. Because, and Kelly she can talk forever about this. The market is constantly changing. So you really have to stay on top of it to figure out, okay, is this the direction that I want to go, or do I need to pause, hold, and go a different direction? But you know, it's I think sometimes when people get involved, they do surface. They, you know, they're doing it because of what they hear in the media, and then they don't kind of do their own full research, and then they blame others for things that they should be looking into themselves. Again, you know, this is no different than stocks, no different than real estate. You have to do your own research, and to make your investment decision.
Yeah, back in 28, 17, 18, the last big bull run. I can't, it was either that bull run or the 2021 bull run. I somewhere in between there. I had, when I was still doing my tax business, and I had introduced several of my tax clients into crypto, and I had some of them ask me if I would manage their crypto for them, basically manage their money for them. And I just looked at them and said, I'm honored that you might want me to do that, but no, you have to learn how to manage your own money. I am definitely not going to be responsible for when prices fall, because I knew they would, and they do. That's the beauty about crypto, but it's also the stress about crypto is the wild volatility. That volatility is what makes it possible in my world anyway to make money. So I was like, I'm not gonna manage anybody's money but my own. But I love to teach people how to manage their own money within the crypto world, because I'm 100% like you. I'm 100% crypto. I don't do stocks. I don't do bonds. I don't do exchange traded funds. I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I may in the future explore getting into a little bit of bot trading and or derivatives trading, but right now I'm just not quite ready for that next step. Yield farming is where I'm at the moment, and then my swing trading. But so let me see what else I got on here that I might want to ask you. You've shared a lot of wonderful things. Is there any tips? Well, you've given us a lot of tips about what you would do, but is there any other tips that you would like to share with our viewers about how you approach this whole crazy world of crypto?
I guess going back to when you get started, because I mean, I wasn't organized, and that's why I was really grateful that I wrote this for my daughter, but also for me. Um, think about how are you going to organize your information right from the start, because just like with, you know, you were talking about accounting, just like with taxes every year, if you're not organized, you're going to be going through receipts, and then you're going to be, you know, spending a lot of time. It's really important, and I'm not saying that I'm, you know, the best at this, but it's really important that you organize where your funds are, your crypto is, and then you check on it, like you were talking about, Kelly, at least once a month, you know, to make sure, one, it's still there, and then two, that you can access it. And if you have any problems, then you know, like a hack, then, you know, reach out to me, cryptomom2.com. You know,
There you go.
but yeah, but I mean, the thing is, or, you know, again, you also might see that it's gone up and down, and that's when you might decide, okay, I really think I want to trade it over, you know, and get, you know, put some of that coin into Bitcoin or change it out. When you do that, make a note, because
Yeah.
then you're going to have the basis. You're going to your accountant is going to be asking, what did you do? And if you haven't held it for 12 months, again, this is not tax advice, not legal advice. I'm just saying, organize your information, because eventually you're going to have to declare it in that tax year, and you're going to want to know all the information, so that way when you give it to your accountant, or you know, share with your family as well, they know where it is and how to access it. So
Yeah. I actually have some courses on that subject of crypto and taxes at lifewithcrypto.com. What age group is your book aimed at? I don't know the age of your daughter.
well, my daughter's 26, but
Oh,
yeah, this book here actually I wrote it as a family read aloud, so it could be read by an adult, because I figure it's going to be like the Harry Potter on the blockchain. But it could also be, I mean, I had moms and dads too read it to their kids as young as 7 years old,
Nice.
You know, a 7-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they did their own little reviews on it. But they had questions, and both of these families are involved in different ways in crypto and gaming and things like that. So, you know, it was a fun read for them. It introduced the different vocabulary because it's all integrated within the story. And then it has QR codes so you can kind of go to back to the web to learn more. Um, but again,
Right.
every age, I think all of us, no matter what our age, we are lifelong learners. And in the blockchain, there is cryptocurrency, there's so much terminology. We've got to always kind of stay on our toes.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I look forward to kind of checking out those books on Amazon that you got. This sounds really cool. I never thought about writing a book like that because I'm not a good writer of creative writing. I'm a good
Mhm.
technical kind of person. So like
Yeah.
almost all the stuff I get into, I have to force myself to find ways to add some creativity to it because I tend to want to get right into the detail. And I think that's one of the things people like about my style because you know if they don't, they wouldn't stick around. Is
Yeah. No,
getting
I
right.
mean your style is wonderful. I mean, I know I don't have that. I'm not technical like that. The books kind of flowed because I guess being in right now being an educator, it was and loving fairy tales, it just was an easy write for me. But again,
Mm,
everyone has their own way to channel the information.
yeah.
And, you know, again, the technical side, I think you need that. You need the technical side just as much as you need the creative side.
Absolutely, because we
Yeah.
gotta keep people excited about it because the technology is not going away. It's well, you
No.
know, during the off season like we're in right now, the crypto winter as it tends to be called these days, is it's such a wonderful time to have time to go and study and learn about how the technology is growing and developing. And you know, I belong to a crypto mastermind group where I have the opportunity to learn about some inside projects that haven't been announced yet
That's
and
awesome.
I'll give just a quick tidbit of information that there's a search engine coming out. Probably won't be out till next year. I'm not going to give the name because I don't believe I'm authorized to do that yet. I'm not sure. Um, so there's going to be a search engine where you can use it sort of like Google, but you'll be able to search on the blockchain. Now, I'm not sure if you'll be able to search just like everything you can search on Google or if you're searching yield farming opportunities. I just know that there's a search engine coming. I find that very exciting, and that should be a really big project. And I will be talking about that more on my Facebook in my Facebook group as soon as I know that I have permission to do that. Um,
I think that's exciting. Definitely let me know when that happens because
for sure.
I definitely also want to share that information with you out on my talk show, Crypto Mom too. So definitely let's share that with the you know our communities.
Absolutely. We'll get together again. Well, let's see. Let's shift gears a little bit now. And I love to ask my guests that I do these interviews with to share a little bit about what you do outside of crypto, because one of the things I want people that watch these to share and to know about is there's more to life than just crypto, and there's more to life than just making money. Making money is important because you get to do things with money. My motto is that I want people to make more money so they can do more good in the world. But then now the question is, well, what do you do in the world that is good? What do you do outside of crypto? So I'll give you the floor and share a little bit about what you do other than crypto.
Um, you know, thanks. I do a lot, but it's all things that I love, so it doesn't feel like I'm doing a lot. You know, as I mentioned, my background's law, but right now I'm doing consulting in the blockchain. You know, with the 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 group that I started called CryptoMom2.com. But I also am a special education teacher so during the day, and that's also what gave me the idea that I needed to write the fairy tale because the kids were already gaming. They're already involved with things that they don't realize that it's leading them towards blockchain. And I also realized that you know we have career days at schools, and the schools need to start talking about the careers that are on the blockchain. You
Yeah.
know, so those are areas. And the other things that I do is I love to travel, and I have gone to, many great places around the world, and I'm looking forward to traveling, again in 2023, and then writing about that in the books. Um, and I'm really finding a passion in writing, so I'm doing a lot more blogging. And one of the new blogs that I kind of announced on LinkedIn is called the Happiness Factor News. And within the Happiness Factor News, I am going to incorporate mind, body, spirit, in terms of all the things that we need to kind of stay balanced and do what we love. And find out what we love. Because again, you and I have been blessed with figuring out what we like. A lot of our friends are still struggling to try to figure out what is it that they want to do, and then figuring out how to make it happen. And I know I don't have all the answers. I'm going to be in the blog. I'm going to have other individuals like yourself and others kind of, have little talking points and things like that. So that way individuals can get guidance who from those that have walked different paths. Because again, we all get inspired by different people. So that's something that I've kicked off for 2023, and I'm really excited about that because it kind of blends everything that I'm doing. And I feel like it's a whole new phase of a direction I'm going.
Nice. Figuring out what's important in life beyond just the basics of working, making money, and buying groceries is an important thing. And it took me a while when I was younger. I figured out my love of forestry.
Yeah,
I started out with a degree in mathematics and computer science, and I thought I was going to go that direction. And I still love those topics, but not for a career. And I moved to Mount Hood, and that was when I found out I love the outdoors. I grew up in
hmm,
cities all my life, and then in my mid to late 20s realized how much I loved the woods, and I ended up fighting forest fires. And now one of my greatest passions outside of playing on my computer with crypto is to spend time in the outdoors, hiking and camping, and used to fish but don't do that anymore. um, yeah, spending time outdoors is really, really important to me. And then I have a
yeah,
strong spiritual connection. So I have a strong spiritual practice that I've been in for about 15 years now, with a group
yeah.
of people, about 60 people. And those things are really important to me. So it's
It
important to
is.
figure out, how do you want to spend your time once you make money?
And who do you want to spend it with?
Yeah.
Again, it's important to find the individuals that empower you and are like-minded and can support you in your dreams. So,
Yeah, that
again, it's
one of the things I do that it does involve crypto, but I don't think about it in just crypto. Is I started a group called Women in DeFi, and this is a private group that I created, and we get together and talk about crypto, but we sometimes get off on other personal topics because it's a group of women. And this is one of my connections, because with people, we all have what we have in common is crypto. That's what allowed us to get together. But we end up talking about health and family and, you know, world views, world news, stuff that's going on. And it's been a nice way to connect, because since this COVID thing, I connect with more and more people through these video calls than I do out in the world in person like I used to. The beauty about that is a lot of the people I want to connect with don't live in my town. So if we hadn't done this, I might not have met all these wonderful people that live all over the world. I mean, you live on the East Coast and I live on the West Coast. If we had been relying on living next door to each other in the same town, we would have never met. So this has been a wonderful thing.
I agree. I agree. I've met so many people through Zoom and through networking within the community. And, you and I hop on every few months, and it feels like we have not missed a beat. So, that's what's, really great about the community.
I agree. I agree. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. I so appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life to come and share with us what you're doing with crypto. You've written a couple of books, which is just amazing. I have to make sure I get those names, and can
Thank you.
include them in the comments maybe after once I get this uploaded to YouTube. Is there anything you'd like to say in parting before we end our call?
No, again, I want to thank you also because you've been a mentor for me and answering questions that I've had over the years. And I want to just recommend to everyone, share, let others know what Kelly's doing, because again, we need people to be more educated about what life in crypto is all about. And that has so many different layers. It's like an onion. Every time you pull back one layer, you realize, oh, there's another layer I need to discover. Like you're talking about the yield farming and things like that. I mean, again, there's only so much that we can all know, and it's a process of learning, and just keep being curious, asking questions, and doing your research, and reach out to any of us, and we're there to help.
Absolutely. And I find myself these days being more and more drawn to helping women in crypto.
Yep.
It's just kind of happened naturally. I didn't plan that, but that seems to be, since I started doing the yield farming thing, that seems to be what is being drawn to me. And that's really fun. I've been really enjoying working with women and helping them get educated about how to do all the technical stuff with crypto. And it's been kind of fun.
I think it's really important that we have women role models, and that
Mm.
women are not afraid of finance, because
Yes,
cryptocurrency is an alternative form of finance. But I think that we don't always ask the questions about our personal financial future, and I think that we need to take more control over it, because even if we have a partner, it doesn't matter. We're responsible for ourselves, and I think it's important that we ask questions, not be afraid. And even if we're afraid, ask questions, so that way you can get educated.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you being here,
Thank
Jackie.
you.
I'm going to try to figure out how to stop this recording now, and we'll have a couple more minutes we can chat, and then we'll call it good.